In this very short video, we'd like to explain the things that we can do for you and your customers that will help you to meet your targets as a banker. And we'd like to do that by briefly showing you some of the elements of our methodology so that you can see and judge for yourself how helpful and valuable they'll be to both your customers and to you. One of the first things we usually do for a business is to benchmark them against others in their industry and produce a simple one-page summary that shows how they compare, identifies their strengths and weaknesses, and estimates how much higher their profits and cash flow would be if they were able to emulate their more successful competitors. We then drill down another layer by using sensitivity software to show them their general options for improving their profits, such as pricing more profitably and converting more sales leads into sales, and we show them the impact of those kind of changes. And we use success driver mapping software to fine-tune the analysis even further to produce a visual and mathematically precise model of exactly what is driving their profits. And of course we use all of those insights to work with the business to develop a detailed action plan for improving their profits. We also ensure that the business has its finger on the pulse of all the numbers that matter by helping bring them together onto a single A4 sheet of paper every month, which we call a one-page plan. Based on the balanced business scorecard used by most of the world's largest companies, the one-page plan is designed to be really easy for owner-managed businesses to use. And it's a really powerful tool for helping businesses make better decisions and get better results. Of course, we don't stop there. We also look at their tax position. And whenever a client has a large tax bill of any type, we can usually help to dramatically reduce it, in many cases even to eliminate it completely. For example, if they're a sole trader or partnership, we'll use our incorporation tax planning software live in front of them every year to show them exactly how much tax they could save by incorporating. And we typically identify savings in excess of £50,000 in the first few years alone. In this case, for example, it's over £7,000 a year and a further £120,000 if they capitalise goodwill. And if they're already a limited company, we'll use our remuneration tax planner software live in front of them every single year to do over 1 million calculations to make sure that they pay the smallest amount of tax legally possible when they get their profits out. You can see the calculations on the screen there and the number of them on the bottom left-hand corner, which in this case would mean they pay just 6% in tax. In addition, where you have clients that are expanding by launching a major new product, service or division, we can often show them how to structure that expansion so that their expansion profits are effectively free of tax for 5 or more years. And we can often also help them to pay no personal income tax at all, regardless of whether their income comes from profits, salaries, dividends, investment income, or indeed any other source. The end result of all this input is that your customers have stronger and more successful businesses with lower tax bills, and that means that they won't default on your loans, and they'll also need more of your services as they grow. So that should help you meet your targets in those areas, shouldn't it? But those aren't the only targets we can help you with. For example, when you're involved in financing property, we can often eliminate the SDLT on residential property and greatly increase the tax allowances for commercial property, making everyone involved in the transaction happy because it's more affordable to the buyer with no loss to the seller, and therefore more likely to get approval from your underwriters. And that in turn should help you meet your lending targets more easily. And when you're involved in financing other transactions, such as buying and selling businesses, we can often eliminate the capital gains tax payable, which once again can help make the transaction happen so that you meet your targets in this area more easily too. By the way, you may find another firm of accountants showing you a video similar to this. If you do, that's because we've co-funded the development of many of these tools and processes with a small number of other forward-thinking AVN accountants across the country. So by all means talk to them as well, since like us, they only want to help. You'll be pleased to know that we don't limit ourselves to your customers' business affairs. We also create a personal balance sheet for them and their families. And we use it to help prevent inheritance tax and care fees from taking any of the money your customers receive on the death of their parents, and also to prevent those taxes taking any of the money your customers eventually are able to leave to their loved ones on their own death. And yes, it is actually often possible to reduce inheritance tax and care fee bills to zero with the right sort of planning. We also use the personal balance sheet to help them understand the need to safeguard and protect their assets and ensure that they yield and grow at the right rates in order to fund their retirement and other future plans. And that process, of course, will help generate interest in insurance, pensions and other financial services, which should help you meet your targets in those areas too. It's important to stress that everything we've talked about here is part of a complete performance measurement and improvement system, so it's a holistic approach with joined up thinking at every stage that many people have actually described as sat-nav for business. Through it, your customers become more financially successful and secure. In fact, the impact on customers can often be life-changing. For example, we can show you a case study of how a very small one-man band business ended up getting an extra £2.2 million in net cash as a result of this approach. And not only does that sort of success mean that your customers are in a position to buy more of your services, but the extra management reports our performance measurement system automatically generates also mean that you'll get all the information you need to keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in their businesses, and your underwriters get all the information they need to make speedy, positive decisions. Of course, not everything we do or have mentioned in this video is right for every customer, and this is categorically not a one-size-fits-all approach. So we always start the process by using diagnostic review software to produce a report identifying what has the most potential to add the most extra money to their business and personal bank accounts, since ultimately that's what it's all about. As a first step towards us making a start using all of this to help you meet your targets, we would be delighted to explain further any of the things mentioned in this video, and we would also be delighted to do all of the following for your customers at no charge to them or to you. We'll gladly carry out a diagnostic review of their affairs and identify what they can specifically do to add the most extra cash to their business and personal bank accounts, and present our findings in a detailed, plain English report. And as part of that diagnostic review, we'll also benchmark them against others in their industry. And when we present our findings, we'll use one or more of our software tools live in front of them to do up to 1 million calculations to estimate how much extra tax they can save by making a few simple changes. And as we said, we'll do all of that gladly for your customers for free so that they can begin to benefit straight away. So I'd like to end, if I may, with 2 questions for you. How does all of this compare to what other accountants do for you and your customers? And if you like what you see, when can we make a start?